Hi everyone, Sky123 here, and today I'm going to be doing a Doctor Who DVD review. This time we are looking at Remembrance of the Daleks, and for those wondering, this is of course the special edition, which was released much later than the original. I think this is one of the first special editions actually, because they were still deciding what they were going to do with the special edition format and whatnot, and obviously it got the yellow writing there rather than the normal writing, which would usually be the same as this, but obviously smaller. And wonderful cover. I much prefer this cover to the original one, which was literally just an image taken from the story of a Dalek, of just kind of like a Dalek, which was in the best of shape. I think it was an Imperial Dalek. I didn't actually have the original, but ended up getting this. Obviously for the extra special features, and the special features are actually rather good on this. So if you've got the original and are thinking of upgrading, this is now only like £7, so I definitely recommend you pick it up if you. Obviously, if you've got other priorities in terms of DVDs, I'd say go for them first. But, you know, don't kind of like think that because you've got the normal edition, you don't need the special edition for this, because there are some interesting new special features, such as behind the scenes called Back to School, and actually I'll just turn over and show you that quickly. So there's behind the scenes called Back to School, and there's also Davros collections, which looks at the whole history of Davros, and that's actually the whole of the second disc. I'm not sure why they used up the whole of the second disc for it. I'll show you that in a second, but anyway, yeah, that's what they decided to do. I hope that stands. But yeah, so anyway, of course, Sylvester McCoy there, Doctor Who, and now we've had a look at the back, so let's take a look inside. I'm gonna get the leaflet out first, there's that for you. Here is the, if I can open it, inside of the leaflet. So then you've got your commentary information and extras and whatnot. And obviously there you can see disc 2 is literally just the Davros connections. And then on the back you have your chapter points, along with more behind the scenes images, well not behind the scenes, but film shots, you know, promotional stuff for the story itself. Then, there you have your disc 1. Which is rather interesting, just, you know, standard stuff really, but fits the tone of the story quite well. And there you have disc 2, which is of course naturally titled Davros Connections, if you can see that there. And that's rather interesting, so you've got Davros and some Daleks behind. I'm pretty sure that's the image they used for the Davros, what's it called? Davros Collection story. Because there was a collection box set which featured all the classic stories featuring Davros, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, of course, but I'm pretty sure I'm right there. But that was that, if I could get this to stand up properly. Yeah, that image was used for that. But anyway, Remembrance of the Daleks itself as a story, it's absolutely wonderful, I believe. Not sure whether it's my favourite McCoy, it's definitely up there, top 3. I can't decide between this, Greatest Show in the Galaxy, and Curse of Fenric. All 3 of those are very good stories. But this story, Remembrance of the Daleks, is, of course, action-packed. It's probably the most action-packed Dalek story you will find, possibly including a new series as well, because it really is Dalek versus Dalek action, and you've got a lot of that going on in here. But it doesn't sacrifice the plot as well, which is something I really like about this. Too often you have action things, kind of like Michael Bay syndrome, I think a lot of people would refer to it as, where it's all action and no plot, but this doesn't have that. It's very much got a plot going on in it. It's got a bit of a MacGuffin in the form of the Hand of Omega, which plays quite a vital role in this story, and, you know, slowly gets weaved in. And obviously first episode is very much about the mystery of what the Daleks are doing here and whatnot, and, you know, it doesn't wait till the end of part 1 to reveal the Daleks, because too many Dalek stories do that. And, you know, it's kind of like Terry Nation's trope, you know, end of part 1 he reveals the villains, and since most of his stories are Dalek stories, obviously you end up with the villain reveal at the end of part 1. In fact, the only non-Dalek story thing that happens in, because obviously in Road 2 is the android invasion, where the Kroll is revealed at the end of part 1, I believe. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked a bit here. This story doesn't do that. It reveals Daleks within the first 10 minutes, I believe, when you have a renegade Dalek roll out, and it's a very good scene. And obviously the Dalek then, the Doctor, then blows up the Dalek and whatnot with bases explosives. It's got like a very fun scene and whatnot. And obviously this is only Ace's second story, and you wouldn't know that. Sophie Aldred is really in the swing of things as Ace, and obviously she doesn't have the gravitas. Well, not the gravitas. I think it's more to do with the writing. I think Sophie Aldred's performance is right, but obviously the writing later will kind of like show her challenging the Doctor and whatnot. Whereas here, you know, there's nothing really to challenge him on too much. You know, obviously there are the issues of blowing up Skaro, but she doesn't really challenge him that because it's not really manipulating her as such, or the good guys, it's manipulating the bad guys. And this is really the first instance of McCoy manipulating people, mainly as enemies, you know, the Daleks, tricking them. And, you know, it's quite an intelligent tactic, and, I mean, obviously he can't offer the Daleks a choice here, he can't reveal that to them, because they're Daleks. Their sole aim is to destroy and whatnot, so that's very smart. And this Dalek shuttle here was actually lowered into the playground and whatnot on a crane, so loads of money was spent on this story. And you kind of like have there's kind of like that illusion that Classic Who didn't have much money thrown at it, and obviously it didn't in the early years, but in the later years, that this story in particular had loads of money thrown at it, and arguably that affected the rest of the series. But nevertheless, it comes off quite well for Remembrance of the Daleks, and there are some spectacular visuals in here, and it all comes together very nicely. I'm not sure how many times I'm going to say "and" in this video. I seem to keep going "and this, and that." So I'm sorry if that's getting a bit annoying, but it's just the way I roll, I guess. Background characters, of course, you've got the three who would later become the countermeasures team, and they are Group Captain Gilmore, Rachel, and Alison. And Rachel, and well, mainly Alison doesn't get too much to do. Rachel gets a fair amount to do, and of course Group Captain Gilmore gets a fair amount to do as well, with the whole thing. And it's interesting that he trusts the Doctor right from the start, but you know, he's not kind of like trusting him implicitly. But it's good to not have that kind of like typical story where the authority figure arrests the Doctor until he finally works out how to trust him and whatnot. You know, here he trusts the Doctor, but not implicitly. He does kind of like question him and whatnot, and you know, he has that wonderful line where he says only a fool argues with his Doctor, which is quite an interesting line, I feel. And you know, it says a lot about him as a character. But you know, at the first sign of trouble, he probably would turn on the Doctor. At least now, you know, obviously once he got to know him in sort of, like, I believe Big Finish have done like at least one. I think it is only one, the assassination games. So maybe at the end of this story he would trust him a bit more than he did at the start. But nevertheless, a very interesting character there. And then Rachel, you've got the whole idea that the Doctor's coming in and kind of like just taking over from her, I guess, as a scientific advisor. And there's kind of like that parallel between her and the Doctor in the third Doctor's time when he was UNIT scientific advisor and whatnot. There's that interesting thing going on there. But you know, those two characters, and Alison's quite good, but those two characters in particular are quite good. Then you also have Mike, whose surname I can't remember. He might not have even been given a surname. I don't know, it's not coming to me. But yeah, he was quite a good character, and you know, you obviously have a plot twist going on with him, and there's quite a bit of interesting stuff to do with him and Ace. And you know, that's when Sophie Aldred really gets a chance to shine there, so that's quite nice for her. And obviously she's shining throughout the story. There's nothing I can really pick her up on that's bad, but nevertheless, you know, it's good. It's a good story for her, especially considering it's only her second one, as I mentioned previously. But anyway, you know, I think it's time to round this off. Maybe there was probably Davros. We'll talk about Davros quickly. Obviously, there's the amazing, well, not really amazing, but there's the interesting reveal where the Dalek Emperor turns out to be Davros and whatnot. I'm not too sure how I feel about that. It's nice to have a Dalek story that has Davros in it, but still very much focused on the Daleks. I think a lot of the other Davros stories focus too much on Davros. Genesis, it works, you know, obviously, because it's their first story and whatnot, it works out quite well for that. But the second story. Destiny focuses too much on Davos. It suffers from that. It also suffers from a lot of other things, but that's for another day. And then you've also got quite a few other stories like Resurrection suffers from it. Revelation, however, I think it's nice that it focuses on Davros. You know, that one kind of like works out better for it, I feel. But anyway, you know, Remembrance of the Daleks gets it right for once. You know, it's nice to have the Daleks back on top and back in form, back how they should be. So, let's round this off by saying 9 out of 10. Yeah, 9 out of 10. And also I'd like to say that I will be taking part in Big Finish Fans 3. So if you watched the first 2 of them, or even if you haven't, you know, if you want to watch that, it's just a little Google Hangout thing that's going to be happening on Purchase Smith 11's channel. So I suggest you check that out on Saturday, 6th of... Yeah, it is the 6th, I think. 6th of March, so check that out if you want to. Not sure entirely what we're going to be discussing, but obviously recent Big Finish news like we did last time and whatnot. So anyway, thanks for watching this review of Remembrance of the Daleks, and I'll see you all next time. Did I rate this? If I didn't, 10 out of 10. I kind of get the feeling that I rated it something silly like 7 out of 10 earlier, for no apparent reason, just speaking randomly. But it is 10 out of 10 for me. Obviously it's not flawless, but nevertheless it is a very fun romp and a very good story. So thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye everyone.